On May the 19th, Naomi Klein spoke in London at Friends Meeting House. She was there to launch her new book, The Shock Doctrine, the paperback version, and also to raise funds for Hands Off Iraqi Oil, a coalition of environmental and human rights organizations who are working to preserve Iraq's oil within the hands of the Iraqi people. I was there along with quite a large number of people from the Camp for Climate Action to promote that event. We were also given the stage for a short time to appeal to the packed out audience to come and join the action from the 3rd to the 11th of August. In this clip, Naomi speaks about the two possible options we have in terms of dealing with climate change, either profiteering off it and letting it continue, or doing something about it through solidarity.
It's clear that we are at a pivotal moment in our collective history. We are feeling it and seeing it with the serial crises that we face, with the acceleration of climate change and resource wars. And in the face of this, there really are two broad ways that we can collectively respond. We can develop policies and technologies to get us off this disastrous course. We can change our way of life, which I think is probably, broadly speaking, what the malcontents in this room think might be a good way to respond to a crisis. Or we can develop policies and technologies that protect us from those we have enraged through resource wars and displaced through climate change, while simultaneously shielding ourselves and escaping from the worst of war and weather, a world of green zones and red zones. And at the moment, with no debate and cloaked in public discourse that claims to be terribly concerned and committed to the former approach, getting us off this disastrous course, we are in fact moving dramatically towards the second course. So I'm not arguing by any means that it is a phenomenon. There are industries that profit from war and disaster. We know that there are. What I'm arguing is that the part of the global economy that improves the worse things get is increasing dramatically. And we need to understand this. And I call it the disaster capitalism complex. But broadly speaking, I'm talking about the industries who do better the worse things get. The more climate change, the more natural disasters, the more epidemics. So it isn't just what Eisenhower called the military-industrial complex. It's not just the weapons companies and the heavy engineering and reconstruction firms. It's obviously the oil companies who are doing spectacularly well, because the worse things get, the higher the price of oil, the higher the price of gold. It's the drug companies that make the drugs to treat pandemics. It's the private healthcare companies that are now treating soldiers returning from wars. This is one of the most profitable businesses now in the United States, is giving private healthcare, both mental and physical, to soldiers returning from Iraq and Afghanistan, because Donald Rumsfeld privatized all of it. And then in other ways, we're also seeing huge profits being made by disasters in the agri-fuels, in the agri-fuel business, in the spectacular profits being made by the food industry in the midst of the food crisis. And there's some absolutely incredible stats on this that I think some of you heard, that Cargill's net earnings jumped 86% from last year to this year. This in the midst of a crisis that is clearly not a crisis for the largest food companies in the world. Monsanto has been frantically buying up patents on what they call climate-ready seeds. The industry is adapting to the future climate chaos and is buying up the seeds that claim to be resistant to everything from salination to drought. So this is one way of responding to a future of climate chaos. And it is the way that, if we don't challenge it, will continue.